real estate agent, actually now broker, owner of my own company here in South Florida. Been doing it over 4.5 years. Today, and if you'll notice the title, it has to do with follow-ups. I have been thankfully super busy, and I am falling behind. And to make sure that my pipeline doesn't dry up and I don't lose deals, I'm going to go ahead and sit here and just kind of show you a little bit of an insight, a little bit of what I do for my actual follow-ups. I've kind of designed it a certain way over, I can't say years, but year or so of what I do. The way I have my leads organized is in a virtual folder within my Mojo dialer, and I have it on a weekly. I know some people do it on the daily. I just do it on the weekly. Somehow I've just decided that that works for me. I'm looking at my week folder. Today's Thursday, and I try and at least get to them once a week or when I need to. I have 20. I have 20 good leads sitting here in my folder. So I'm going to just go through them one by one to see what's going on. So I treat everyone different. I have like little notes. Sometimes it's send a text. Sometimes it's create a market report. Sometimes it's search them on any social media platforms. Sometimes it's give them a call with a market update. Sometimes it's email them information. It's just kind of, and I've timed it where I mark it like do this task first, then a week later do this, and 10 days later do that. So I'm just going to follow along this way that I don't have to worry about it too much. I know some people will maybe call on their follow-ups. But for myself, I'm more quality, more dense, less, rather than thinking I have 100 leads or 1,000 leads or 10,000 people in my database. I would rather, and I've curated because I like to get rid of trash or spam, or in case I force a lead, I like to just condense it, and make it sure, like, if I have 50 leads, what is the percentage conversion that these people will actually end up selling with me? And I want that percentage to be higher, because if I have 50 and let's say 50% of them converted, that's 25. And all I really needed was a good 50. So that's kind of what I work towards, and it has worked out great. That's actually why I also go on very few listing appointments and take them. God, I kind of lost track of this March. I know in February, I went on 6 appointments and took 5. And this month, I don't know, I'm losing track. I just took another lease listing, and there's another lady who wants another lease listing. Quite honestly, I do count those because I treat them just the same as the listing. And at the end of the day, I do get paid. So why not? I don't do a lot of those. Those are just kind of like little snacks, little bites, a little bit extra money, free money, I would say, because they are easier to manage. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and call this first guy. I just want to figure out where he's at. So I'm just texting him. I'm a bit more casual. I'm not like, hey, just following up. I'm more like, I'm your friend and I'm here to help and serve. How can I help you today? I always like to lean into meeting someone rather than like, hey, let's set up an appointment for me to come over and tell you what I'm going to do for you. It's more like, hey, let me just come down and check it out and, meet you. Because what if you don't like me? And I kind of joke about that, and they'll laugh and they're like, oh yeah, no, that's cool. I'm just texting him. You'd be surprised how many responses you can get from people texting you. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't be nervous about it. So that's one. When I do follow-ups, I always want to try and reach for 10. But because I don't really have a crazy amount of follow-ups, just because everyone's so spread out, I would say I have between 10 to 20, sometimes 30 people in 1 week, which is great. So I don't really stress about follow-ups. And because I nurture people so much, it's not really a specific, like, call me Tuesday at 3 o'clock. Then I can just call them at my own leisure. So I do follow-ups a little bit different. So for example, here's the next one. I made initial contact with them in April of 2024. I followed up with them even throughout the summertime and in November as well. It says on here I sent them a text 2 months ago, January 14th. And they are out of state. Oh my God, I just remembered I have a listing appointment on Monday at 11. Okay. All right. I got another listing appointment. I'll probably get another listing, and who knows, maybe there'll be 5 listings this month again. Oh, yay. It's a lot. So what are we going to do with this person? I emailed and I texted a video text, send text. Let me see the text. What was the text? So in that case, I'm going to send him a text because there's no point. And then I just, just talking like, I know what's going on. I'm your friend. We've been talking for, it'll be a year next month. So just send a text. I think people can be a little bit too, yep, send a text. All right, send text. And I just kind of gauge this from experience as far as like when I feel like I should follow up with them, how often I should follow up with them. The closer they are to selling, obviously I'm going to follow up with them a little bit like more frequently. Okay, so here's this one person. I have an action plan and it says, I did a market report. I didn't find them on social media. I did search, but they didn't show up, which is fine. Now I have to call her back. All right, we're calling. So remember, quality over quantity. That's how I see it, especially with all these leads, because then you just end up having fake leads. You fluff, you lie to yourself, you get this hopism that they're leads. And unfortunately, you have to just fall and fail fast, as they say. So I had to learn the hard way. And now I am more laser tight as far as who my leads are. So I just make sure to follow up, do the right thing. Oh, you know what? I had actually searched her on social media. I'm gonna search the husband. I do sometimes think as real estate agents, we're like, we lean a little too much on technology. So if you're like, oh, I'm just gonna dial all these follow-ups, but you don't really provide any value, they don't really know who you are. It can be very difficult. Whereas I've figured out if I can find them on social media, if I can add them on Facebook, if I can add them on Instagram, if I can add them on LinkedIn, if I can send them a text, if I can send them a video text, if I can pop by their house, if I can leave them a voicemail, if I can mail them a letter, like it all adds up in all these different touch points. And then if they watch my YouTube channel, they get consumed by me and they know how I speak, how I look, how I walk, how I like my mannerisms, and they end up feeling more connected to actually doing business with me. So let's see. I do see the husband. Is this him? Maybe. Is he in Pompano? No, he's in California. Huh. California dude. No, that's not him. That's not the right age. Maybe this? No, wrong city. No, I don't think that's him. Yeah, no, I don't see the husband. Okay, that's fine. I called. I'll just send him a text then. Um, Hi. Let's see. Thinking of selling. Sent a market report. Oh, he did give me his email. Yeah, sent handwritten note card and texted. What's this? You know what? I'm gonna send him a market report. Let's do that. And you don't necessarily have to call someone every single time to follow up. Sometimes it's nice to pop in their inbox, pop in their text messages, pop in on their Instagram, and then they just really start seeing you everywhere. But you can't really do that just on a dialer. So I do manual. I kind of started doing that over a year ago, just from my own personal experience. So, and I have all these like tasks and triggers that I created for myself on my Mojo dialer. Let's take a closer look. Pending, active under contract, nothing. Look at that. There's something that just closed in last month. So we're going to email that to we're going to send this over to this gentleman. And we're going to do a little market report. Market report. So if you'll notice, this is kind of boring and time consuming, but this is very, very important. Muy importante. Paste, and then I'm going to call it market report. I'm going to mute myself so you don't hear me typing. Cool. Send. Okay, so and then I'm going to put in my notes. Send market report. Post. Promise you quality, in this case, over quantity. These are all my nurtures. Let's see. Asked if caught card. There's this one lead. Create market report. Okay, so I got to create a market report. Let me just see if I haven't already done so. Nope, I have not. So that's a task. So that's a follow-up. I got to do this. This is what I do. Copy, paste. Okay, I kind of know where she is. So based off of that, I create all these little market reports for people. I really just built out my systems and processes, and it's kind of interesting because I don't really document my systems and processes. I've tried other people's systems and processes, even like real estate coaches out there, and I obviously have a mentor. And he tells me I should have a certain system and process, and I'm like, no, this is working for me. Leave me alone. I figured out my little niche. Yeah, okay, so I mean, there was a point in time where all I was doing was cold calling and generating leads, and my follow-up was just you know what I mean? And it was just so stupid. I was like, why am I generating all these leads if I can't even like follow up with them? It's so silly. You know what I mean? Um, so then I had to like pull the reins back and be like, well, if I can't follow up with people, I should not be lead generating. And then I started getting some follow-ups, and it's just been really a whole roller coaster, hit or miss. Really? It says there's a lot of homes. There we go. That's much better. Maybe 3. Yeah, okay. Save. Let's go ahead and save it and then name it. So that was a task. I did that. And then I have to find her on social media. Copy. I think this is her. Yeah, this is her. Cool. So I'm going to add her on my social media. And then you say check mark. Actually, I did 2 activities on hers. And then I'll follow up with her. You can do it. Just pick up the phone, start calling. You'll get leads, you'll get follow-ups, you'll get listings, you'll get sales, you'll get commission checks.